I knew I was done for the moment. The first punch cracked across my jaw. The force knocked me to the ground, my ears ringing and blood filling my mouth. I barely had time to spit before the kick started. A boot to the ribs, another to my side. I could feel something break, but I couldn't tell what. It didn't matter. In that moment, I knew this was it. There was no way out. This is how I died. But before I get to that part, let me take you back to where it all started. My name is Eric Fisher, inmate number 55423. Life didn't go as planned for me, as you can guess. I was just a regular guy once, but a string of bad decisions landed me here. In a maximum security prison where survival wasn't just a skill, it was a currency. I was serving 10 years for armed robbery. 10 years might not sound like a lot, but inside these walls, every day feels like a lifetime. Prison isn't what people think it is. Sure, the bars, the guards, the fights, they're all real. But what most people don't understand is that survival here depends on respect and fear. The Bloods had both in spades. They were the undisputed kings of this place, running everything from protection rackets to the drug trade. If you wanted to stay out of trouble, you stayed out of their way. Simple as that. But life in here isn't simple. Desperation makes you stupid, and stupid choices get you killed. It started with a plan, a desperate, idiotic plan. I needed something to give me leverage. I was tired of being at the bottom of the food chain, tired of being invisible. So, I came up with a way to change things. I'd steal from the Bloods. I know how it sounds. Stealing from the most dangerous gang in the prison? It was suicidal. But at the time, it felt like the only option. I convinced myself it would be a small, unnoticeable theft, just a packet of narcotics from their stash. Something small enough that they wouldn't even notice it was gone. I spent weeks watching them, learning their routines, figuring out where they hid their stuff. They had a stash near the laundry room, tucked behind a loose brick in the wall. It wasn't heavily guarded, just a few lookouts, easy enough to slip past if you were careful. One night, when most of the prison was asleep, I made my move. I waited until the guards were distracted and crept through the halls, keeping to the shadows. My heart pounded with every step, the silence around me almost deafening. When I reached the stash, my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the packet, but I did it. I took the drugs and slipped back to my cell, adrenaline coursing through me. For a brief moment, I felt invincible. I'd stolen from the Bloods and lived to tell the tale. Or so I thought. The first sign of trouble came 2 days later. I was sitting in the cafeteria, eating alone, when I noticed the Bloods moving differently. They weren't their usual loud, cocky selves. They were quiet, their eyes scanning the room like wolves hunting for prey. My stomach churned as I realized what was happening. Someone had tipped them off. They knew someone had stolen from them, and they were looking for who. I tried to keep my head down to blend in, but I could feel their eyes on me. It was only a matter of time before they figured it out. That night, as I lay in my bunk staring at the ceiling, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every creak, every shadow made my heart race. I tried to tell myself I was imagining it, but deep down, I knew better. The Bloods were coming for me. It wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when. The moment came 3 nights later. I was in the yard, sitting on one of the benches trying to act normal. The sky was dark, the air heavy with tension. I didn't notice them at first, not until Big Nate, the leader of the Bloods, sat down next to me. "Evening, Fisher," he said, his voice calm, almost friendly. "Heard you've been busy." My blood ran cold. I tried to play dumb. "I don't know what you're talking about." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You see, I've got a problem. Someone took something that belongs to me, and I don't like problems." Before I could respond, 2 of his guys grabbed me from behind, dragging me to my feet. I struggled, but it was no use. They were stronger, bigger. I was outnumbered. They dragged me to the far corner of the yard where the lights didn't reach. The other inmates watched, but no one said a word. In here, Minding your own business was the only way to survive. The beating started slow. A punch to the gut, a slap across the face. They weren't trying to kill me, yet. They wanted me to admit what I'd done, to beg for mercy. But I knew begging wouldn't save me. It would only make things worse. Big Nate leaned in close, his face inches from mine. "Where is it?" he growled. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mouth was filled with blood, my vision blurry from the blows. He sighed like he was disappointed and motioned for the others to continue. That's when the knives came out. The first stab was like fire, a hot, searing pain that exploded through my side. I screamed, the sound echoing in the empty yard. The second stab was worse, the blade twisting as it went in. I tried to fight back, but there were too many of them. Fists, boots, knives, they all came at me at once. 15 of them, maybe more, each one eager to get their turn. I begged for mercy, but they didn't stop. They couldn't stop. This wasn't just about me. It was about sending a message to everyone else. No one steals from the Bloods. By the time they were done, I was barely conscious. Blood pooled beneath me, warm and sticky, as the life drained from my body. I could feel the concrete beneath me, cold and unforgiving, as my vision blurred. The last thing I saw was Big Nate's face, looking down at me with something that almost looked like pity. "Should have stayed in your lane," he said. My last thoughts weren't of the Bloods or the prison. They were of my mom. She'd come to visit me every week, no matter what. She never stopped believing in me, even when I stopped believing in myself. The day after I died, she showed up for visitation, just like always. She made her way through security, her face lighting up like it always did when she came to see me. But when she asked for me, the guard's face went pale. "I'm sorry," he said, pulling her aside. "He's gone." Her scream echoed through the room, a sound so full of pain that it still haunts me. I can still see her face, twisted with grief, her body shaking as she collapsed to the floor. She didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve any of this.